Alright folks, excellent choice. You've chosen the Raph in Disguise figure.
How he got this gigantic trench coat and who he's trying to hide from, we don't know yet, but that's part of the magic of the movie, I guess.
Yeah. Love this thing because it reminds me a lot of the old original Turtles film. As you can see, hat and trench coat. But now we have some festive, oversized sunglasses for him to wear in the neon yellow kind of frame. So a scarf for his face. So is it feasible that he could hide? I don't know. We'll find out in a review.
There's a lot of weirdos in New York, so
he fits right in. Fits right in. I'd give this guy $1. Help him out a little bit.
Let's take a closer look at Raphael in Disguise.
I'm hiding! Alright folks, so here we have our closer look at Raph in Disguise, as the figure is officially called.
And it's a pretty convincing disguise. Look at him. I mean, you can barely tell that he's a 7-foot-tall turtle
Maybe
with his trench coat
a hunchback, perhaps?
Yeah,
with the shell back, maybe a hunchback?
He's a little bit, he's got a little bit of the Elephant Man thing going on. He's just wrapped his face.
A lot of it of the Elephant Man thing going on.
But it's a very well sculpted trench coat. Let's get this out of the way. I think the reason why we like this figure so much is because it's just so darn funny to us. The idea, we love Raphael for comedy anyway, and the idea of him dressing up
like a giant turtle man in a trench coat is hilarious in and of itself.
The insinuation of the trench coat too is priceless, and it comes off so well. It's the proportions of this figure just make it so much funnier. But let's take a closer look at everything he's got going on. I guess I'll start with the articulation. And that's kind of an area where he's missing out on some. But he's got a ball-jointed head, which you get quite a bit of movement. It's the same head as the standard Raphael figure. So he's got the big trail coming off his bandana, which is under the coat, so that hinders the movement just a little bit. He can't move it completely from side to side like he normally would. But, if he's all done up with the other accessories, which we'll show you in a moment, that won't matter too much. He's got a hinge and a cut at the shoulder, and he's got a cut at the wrist. And then his legs have the full articulation. There's a hinge and a cut at the hip, which you can't see, and then a joint at the knee. And he's got that on both sides. And so the legs are fully articulated, but they're obstructed by the coat, which is unfortunate. But, you can get some movement out of him, and he definitely has no problem standing.
And with the way he's disguised, there may have also been an obstruction of justice somewhere along the lines. But that leads me to talk about sculpt a little bit. As Brandon pointed out, you can see that the sculpting is just as good on the head up here as it is in the standard release. It's just a very tight, very interesting new look for Raphael. You can't really see it, but this whole trail back here is sculpted with his bandana. I really like that. On the trench coat sculpt here, it's very flowing, and I really like the sculpt back here where you can see all the wrinkles where it's kind of over the shell. That's a lot of care has been put into that sculpt. Trails down here and has a little cut in it so that the legs can move a little bit better. On the sides even, you've got the belt for the trench coat. It's just kind of, sagging off to the side here. Very cool. Has a little bit of an opening here so the arms won't have as much trouble moving, but honestly, I don't think this helps much, this opening. It more detracts from the sculpt.
Yeah, it's not much of a distraction, but you definitely see him when you move his arms around. And again, it doesn't free it up at all. It's not like you can remove the coat or anything, and you're not supposed to, of course.
And on the arms, of course, you've got the latches on the trench coat. Really good sculpting on the bandages on the hands.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite part of the sculpt for this.
It really does look like turtle hands bandaged up. So really kudos on to Playmates for that. Very nice. I really like the sculpting.
It's just a cool look. He's got kind of a Marv from Sin City or Invisible Man thing going on. That's very cool.
Invisible Man, I'm glad you said that because we do have some Invisible Man disguise accessories here, which are also sculpted wonderfully. We have this awesome scarf he's wearing. Sculpted really, really nice. As you can see, there's kind of a plating detail in it and kind of just little tassels on the end and some kind of stitching there on the front. I really, really like it. The fedora sculpted really well. Great throwback to the original Turtles film. Very nice.
If you take those accessories and paint them appropriately, you can have Raphael cosplaying as the Fourth Doctor, too.
Yes, that would be wonderful. And here we have the funnest little accessory of them all. Tiny little novelty summer sunglasses. As you can see, the sculpting is real nice. They look really, really nice.
Yeah, paint's very clean.
Yep. Speaking of paint, Brandon, take it away.
Yes. Okay, there's not a lot of paint application on this figure. The head has two apps. There's the red on the bandana and then the white of the eyes. And then all the buttons of the trench coat are painted, and that's not a lot of paint, but it's painted very cleanly. There's no paint anywhere else on the actual trench coat, but it doesn't need it. If ideally I'd like to get like a dirty wash on it, like it's kind of befilthied, and obviously he lives in the sewers, and it would be. But that's for a mass market for a kid's toy. That's too much to ask. So that doesn't offend me. The hands appear to be. Are they painted?
I think that is paint.
Yeah.
I believe. I'm not really sure. It could be cast in that, but it seems more like paint to me.
The hands are actually painted, and I don't know why, because they're just a single color. So they could have been cast. I'm a little worried about the paint chipping off. It's very nice, and it gives it a distinct kind of look and a distinct feeling. So I dig that. And then the bandages are painted on his feet. Now, the most interesting paint detail about this figure is actually something that's not painted, and that is, of course, under the trench coat, he's just normal Raphael. And I'm not sure how well this is going to pick up on the camera, but underneath you have this nude, unpainted, basic Raphael figure, and it's really weird to see in there.
The sculpt is completely the same underneath.
Yeah, it's identical except for the arms.
There's just no paint. It's just a basic kind of green version of that old sculpt. I'll be very curious to see somebody
nude Raphael underneath.
Remove the trench coat and just have this unpainted.
The
shell on the back is also unpainted. It's just green. So very interesting, but hey, you're never really going to see that in the figure. So fine, on that. Let's talk about these accessories a little bit. They've definitely got a lot of cool paint going for them. This is just cast in this color. However, we can see the strap and the bandana is painted, and we have a couple little tampo applications on the sunglasses, but it's not really paint. Let's go ahead and show people some of the combinations they can get out of these fun accessories.
Okay, let's see. Let's do it.
If you just want to do classic, like movie one, you can do that. One thing is the hat don't stick on there too well. You got to kind of force it, but once you get it on there, it sort of stays. And
he's so hunched over that it's hard to get a good hard straight on look of him.
Pick up, but you can see the hat on there. It doesn't come off as well as you might think it would. It's because the hat's not designed just to be on there by itself, but it looks okay if you're.
It looks really funny.
Yeah, it looks very funny. The comedy's there.
Yeah.
Beyond that, we can go ahead and just put on the scarf over his face. Just get that on there. And you can just have it like this. It looks really great that way. The scarf is awesome. It doesn't come off.
No, it's
very tight.
It's sculpted pretty specifically to Raphael's face. It doesn't go on anything else, hardly.
We can add, as Brandon pointed out, the Invisible Man kind of sunglasses here. These are tricky because even though there's some little indentions in the scarf where the sunglasses may hook into, they don't at all.
No.
At all.
You can get them there, but they just don't stay.
Yeah, they don't stay. So, we have that, and, they stay on there plenty well enough.
Yeah.
The problem comes with the hat that doesn't really want to stay, especially when you got everything else on here. And it's kind of hard for me sometimes to get it on there and to keep everything straight. But once you do, as you can see, it's very rewarding because of how just cool and funny and strange it looks.
Yeah.
There's something about this. I don't know. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I got a big kick out of. And again, where I said that the trench coat wasn't painted very much. Once you get everything else on him, it brings plenty of color to the figure.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Is he's probably definitely my favorite to look at out of all the figures because he's so interesting. He's got a lot of layers going on, lots of different colors. The other thing, though, to mention, if I had something negative to say about the figures, I feel like he probably should have included a pair of sais.
Yeah, he's got no weapons, just the disguise accessory, so that's a little unfortunate.
And his hands are kind of overly clasped to the point where I don't feel comfortable putting the sais from the other Raphael in his hands because I feel like they're going to skin him up.
Yeah, start splitting the paint. So that's unfortunate, but I don't think it doesn't appear. We've seen some set photos of this costume in the movie, and it doesn't look like he's going to be fighting. It's more of a sneaking, like espionage, for as well as you can sneak when you're a 7-foot tall muscle turtle, like in broad daylight. So,
but that's the magic of this figure. Yeah, it's so goofy and ridiculous.
It's just
awesome.
and it's it's a fulfillment of a retro idea for the turtles. Something that's been around since about the beginning of the brand.
It's comparison moment because I heard Comparison Time was copyrighted by somebody. So as weird as that may be, let's move on. Much love, Pixel Dan. Just kidding.
For comparison's sake, let's show him with the classic Detective Donatello.
Comparison moment.
Yeah, and you can see. Well, this really demonstrates the scale difference between the vintage figures and these new figures, which are fairly big, really. Not as big as say the 2007 movie figures, but larger, about 5-inch scale. It's you can again, like you said, this is sort of a classic notion in the original cartoon series and in the toy line that the turtles would kind of poorly disguise themselves and get away with it, it was a little. It's funny because it's less silly but more ridiculous than, whereas this is really, very goofy. It's a ludicrous idea to try and legitimize it, but he's obviously disguised a little bit better.
I like that he had the foresight to put his elbow pads on over the trench coat.
Well, I mean, he's got to give people a little indication.
Ready for combat.
And he's also noticed in Donald Duck style that he is wearing a coat, but also no pants.
No. Join the club, pal! So there we have it. That was Raph in disguise. As we talked about in the review, really solid figure. Probably my personal favorite looking figure.
Yeah, me too. It's the one that I had the most fun with, and in part because it's the one that kind of generates the most comedy. And Raphael is just a ludicrous, funny character to begin with. I mean, and like in our...
he's big and bulky and monstrous, but I mean, after you put him in this trench coat and the glasses and a scarf, I mean, it just becomes exponentially funnier.
Yeah.
So just for comedy alone, I mean, like we said in the review, this figure is top. So
yeah, absolutely.
Great choice. Hurry out and buy this one as soon as you can. I would get this guy, if you could only get one at the beginning, I would probably pick up a Shredder, a Foot Soldier, or him, because these will be the harder ones to get, I think, in cases.
Absolutely. So, big recommendation. I'd give him 4 stars out of 5.
Definitely, at least 4 stars out of 5.
All right. Thanks for watching, folks. Check out more of our Ninja Turtles reviews. They'll be available shortly, or maybe they're available now if you're not watching these in order. And thank you very much for watching, and we will catch you later.
Remember, rate, comment, and subscribe, folks. We really appreciate all your support. Take care.
Peace out.
Oh, God. I'm being abducted by aliens. This is Close Encounters of the Third Kind, dude. Guys, I'm going to go get on my coat, my hat, and I'm going to go watch Critters, and that'll show you all.
Think of next.
Hey, you look like kind of a big turtle and trench coat.
I also got a weapon in here, so...
Whoa, 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 whoa. Do you know where my grandchildren live? Where am I? Help me! Let's go to Denny's. Please don't tell anyone. I don't know where I am. Oh, you pretty baby.